the north of England down to London, which is supposed to open up all sorts of possibilities, but has been very controversial for two reasons. One, cost, and the other is that the route went through beauty spots, through people's backyards, and you name it, a significant number of people and regions were going to be affected by it. Well, it looks as if you can sit back and hopefully not be disrupted now, because there's a lot of ministers now and MPs, a significant lobby, let's put it that way, saying scrap it. It's ballooned in cost, it's doubled the cost, and we're talking about billions and billions here, and it hasn't even really got started yet. And so the cost has doubled to out of all proportion. It's an unpopular project, despite the fact that the experts say it will be economically beneficial to a lot of people. But I think that the time has come for the government to gracefully say, we got it wrong. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what we can do. And also, of course, there are many, many fertile minds trying to change the way that we actually use transport now. We're talking about cars that are driverless. We're talking about trains that will fly rather than go along tracks. And we're talking about all sorts of innovation. And at one time I would have said that was fanciful. Not anymore. We really have learned very rapidly over the last decade how to bring new technology to bear into public life, public ways of doing things. So nothing would surprise me. So before we actually go spend billions on a train set, and I'm all for train sets, got several in the attic, which I wish I could pull out more frequently than I do. But if we're going to spend billions on it, let's make sure that it's not going to be replaced in a couple of years with something that is much faster. After all, we could have spent billions on a steamship a few years ago, only to find out that something called the aeroplane was beginning to fly the Atlantic. Anyway, that's my feeling on HS2. Other people will say, don't be silly, Keith, let them build their train set. Something else rather more disturbing is some blood samples have gone missing from a government department, and there is some suggestion that they have deliberately gone missing because they were, in the recent blood tainting scandal, they were evidence, and they were said to be incriminating evidence against the, what we say, not bureaucracy, but against officials, let's put it that way. And lo and behold, 45 of them have gone missing, 45 documents, which are very key to any sort of investigation, any sort of potential court case, gone missing. Aren't you a bit surprised? Because that's the sort of thing that at the moment we're in a society where officialdom can do that. And they think that they can get away with it. Well, we are entering a new phase, nationally and locally, because the reason that this radio station is here, as I've just been saying, is that we are a watchdog. We're trying to keep our eye on the... Oh, yes, I'm just checking on the time. It's 25 minutes past 6 at the moment, because that means nothing, because many of you will listen to this or tap into it later in the day. But just so you know where we're broadcasting, and if you can hear a in the background, it's a fridge that talks to me. It brings the news to me. It whispers in my ear while we're broadcasting. And really, you think I'm telling porkies? Not a bit of it. But the worry is that officials are just now behaving without any checks or balances. Well, checks and balances are beginning to come back. The local media may have shrunk for a variety of reasons, mostly economic, but those of us who are concerned about our local councils, their performance, the cost, the things that they do, the things that they don't do, their efficiency or otherwise, are now finding that there is, not, I may say, designed, but it's evolving. And that is, there are people like me with these very small radio stations. There are people with Facebook groups where they seek opinions from local people. They also perform a service of sort of finding dogs and cats and letting people know when some events are happening, but they also collect criticisms and examples of what's going on with local councils. And when that's put all together, for instance, we've got a couple in Lewis, a couple in New Haven, we've got a couple in Seaford, they stretch to Eastbourne, and then slowly we're finding out there's one in Helsham, there's one in Pevensey. The people in Pevensey actually get up very early in the morning and take beautiful pictures of the dawn. They really are absolute crackers when it comes to photography. So I think it's an open group. If you get a chance, just tap into it. The thing is, I forget what it's called, Pevensey Bay Gossip or Pevensey Bay Live or something of the sort. Anyway, these groups are not only providing good basic local information, but they're also gathering complaints, news, incidents that are showing the inefficiency of the council and the things that the council should be paying attention to, and not getting themselves into such a muck that they suddenly find that they got £11.5 million lawsuit against them. That's okay. They're coming after me at the moment, but I'm if we end up in court, because they tried it once before, and when we got down there, they actually managed to say, if we do this, this, and this, will you drop your countersuit, Keith? And I agreed, and of course I did my part, and they haven't done theirs. So not only that, but they're trying hard to be bullies and to pick on me. They should have asked around. Picking on me is not easy, and I'm not going to be bullied, and I'm certainly going to fight back. So if I go to prison as a result of it, 3 square meals a day, and they can take it out of the council tax. They are. I can't tell you just how strange and odd the people are that run our councils, and for that matter, I really think we need some politicians with teeth. We're also scared of political correctness, isms. Well, I don't give a fig about isms. I grew up when isms didn't count, and people actually did express. Believe it or not, in the 50s and in the 60s, we did express our views, and we didn't have to cringe in case we put the wrong word. So I don't care whether I put the wrong word or not. Some things need to be said, and I spoke to a former mayor of Lewis who said, I don't want to go back into politics, Keith. He said, nowadays everybody's afraid of saying something in case they offend. Well, let's start offending. That's what debate is all about, instead of pussyfooting around and getting bad government. So, come on, chaps, let's start a revolution. Let's start going back to basics. Let's start having councils and local governance the way that it was meant to be, with good, robust debate from the politicians as well as the executive. And let's have an executive that is held to account, not one that manages to do 3/4 of its business under the counter. And only when it gets caught does it emerge. Well, that's just not good enough. You know, a friend of mine, he's got a very, very worthy project. It's all to do with sound pollution, which apparently, according to the experts, is as bad, if not worse, than air pollution, and is destroying a lot of lives and environments and causing us all sorts of problems. And he's got a scheme, working with scientists, to start a theme park showing and demonstrating just how sound is affecting us, taking us from when there was no sound, or at least way back in the prehistoric era, and how quiet it was, right down to the bustling streets and the environment in which we are today. And that would then fund very, very serious experimentation, research and so on into sound pollution. He got a entrepreneur, a very, very wealthy financier, to back the project, as long as he could find a council who would give him some land, or at least lease him some land, or get involved in some way with land. And the entrepreneur said, and I'll tell you, Mike, if you can find a council in England that doesn't put its hand out and want a backhander, then you'll be doing very well, because I've been on these projects before and I couldn't find one. this chap, who is a very decent, he's a former journalist with Reuters, and he said, I started to look. I didn't believe this chap. Well, the project still can't get off the ground for that very reason. They can't find a council that doesn't want, or officials don't want a backhander somewhere, and that speaks volumes for what goes on in our society. Not pointing a finger at anybody in East Sussex? No, I wouldn't do that. Of course, we're squeaky clean here, aren't we? But that's his general experience of councils around the country. And it's about time all that changed. And it seems as if it is going to change. And oh my goodness me, I've been on a rant this morning, and we're in 25 minutes. So we better see if we can play some more music. Although, why, I have no idea that things are going wrong this morning on the playlist. It just seems as if, for some reason, the music doesn't want to play. But it's almost time for me to go anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of the very, very popular pieces by Dandelion Charm out of New Haven, and that can take us up to the time that we should go, and then perhaps I'll play Ben Sound again, as I normally do, to let us get cracking. Anyway, here is Dandelion Charm, Claire and John, Skywalker.
It's a tightrope walk on an ice age, honey, and you can play that game, but it won't be funny for long. For long. She's high, she's a skywalker, doesn't matter, just focus your mind on the wire ahead, it doesn't matter, it's a long way down, long way down. So you place your foot to assess the tension and convince yourself to continue knowing it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. But when she's high, she's a skywalker, doesn't matter, just focus your mind on the wire ahead, it doesn't matter, it's a long way down, long way down. What a spectacular performance, though there will be no net for her.
Well, sadly, we have to leave Dandelion Charm there because we're coming up to 29 minutes of the programme. And so we do need to go. It's not that we are restricted in any way, but you'll all get really fed up with me, really peed off if I keep on going over my time on either television or radio. Just three quick things. Number one, the food bank issue rumbles on.